Okay. Okay. There literally is only two creators that could have actually made me indulge in this. And one would be Lee Daniels, and the other one would be Ryan Murphy. That's the only reason that I am actually here. Ryan Murphy. I'll explain. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. Um, I don't even know how I feel or really how to start. Well, I do know how to start this, but I don't know how I feel. This one's going to be a roller coaster ride, okay? But I'm going to do it. Um, I'm going to start off just saying I feel uneasy about the subject matter. I feel uneasy, which is the way I've always felt about the whole situation. What I'm talking about is Dahmer, um, the Netflix docu-series of Jeffrey Dahmer. It is called Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. There's 10 episodes. As I said, there's only two people. I love Lee Daniels and I love Ryan Murphy. Ryan Murphy's pretty much, him and Lee Daniels are the only two that I would actually trust to actually drag me into this. When this was actually going on in real time, I just could not delve into it. I know, I mean, we all know a lot of the details, but I didn't follow the story. I just couldn't do it. I just could not do it. It was just something about it. It was just creepy on a whole different level. It's always made me anxious. It's always made me uneasy. Um, and I don't know why. I don't know why. Because the behaviors that are put out here are not my behaviors. And I think maybe it's because I have friends who actually had some of these behaviors and I'm part of the LGBTQIA community. I'm part of I've hung out with the group of people who kind of carried themselves in a way who end up being some of his victims. Maybe that was it. I don't know. Maybe by the time we get to the end of these 10 episodes, I'll be able to better uh, convey or maybe just like tap into and touch on myself what has always made me kind of just shy away from the whole subject. I just something about him. I just couldn't. So listen, I'm put on my big boy, big girl pants, and I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do this solely out of my trust in Ryan Murphy and the way he tells a story. Ryan Murphy, creator of American Horror Story. Listen, his storytelling is the things that dreams and bad dreams are made of. So that's just kind of where I'm at with this. So listen, let's just go ahead and let's just start. No time like the present, because before I have a second thought, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So we got we're episode 1. This is episode 1 or 10, okay? Episode 1 is titled That Episode 1. We start off in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Okay, let me tell you right from the beginning, the first half of this episode, I was like, I am not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. I'm like, I hope we're not. I didn't even know exactly which victim this was, but we're actually starting with, well, we're starting with, we see him. We start off, we see Niecy Nash's character. Got Niecy Nash. She is playing a neighbor. She's a black woman who is a neighbor who has undoubtedly been fussing with the police and talking about the smells coming through the vents, and she can hear different things. We see like her making phone calls saying, are you listening to me? Someone is dying. Someone is killing someone. You all are not listening to me. No one is listening. This is 1991 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Really weird, like really weird stuff going on. Even in 91, you know, listen, we were seeing different stuff being flashed where there were folks coming up missing. But again, they were like, who are there? They're like gay people who are kind of coming up missing and people that nobody seems to really care. Okay. So we go through all of that. We actually see him like halfway cleaning up. And when I say halfway cleaning up, he's kind of straightening up. The apartment is a mess. The apartment is a mess. Here, like I said, I've kind of always shied away from this story. I didn't actually realize that this fool lived in an actual apartment. But again, I shied away from the story. I didn't realize it was that type of apartment building with that close proximity to other people. Like a literal apartment. Just now you talking about crazy, crazy. And I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, we see him getting himself together. We see him leaving out. We see him having a little confrontation with the neighbor lady, played by Niecy Nash. And he's giving her all these excuses for this smell. Okay. And he keeps leaning on this smell about this meat that rotted and he threw it away. She said, well, I seen you throw bags of meat away, a bunch of bags of meat, but the smell is getting worse, Jeffrey. It's not getting better. Then he tells her some story about some fish that he has, exotic fish that have died. And then he says, I'll get rid of them on the weekend. I'm like, what in the world? Ridiculous. Anyway, he goes on. He goes to this gay bar. It's a black gay bar. Of course, he sticks out like a sore thumb because it is that. It is a black gay bar. And he's basically kind of hitting on these two guys. So, well, can I buy y'all a drink? And the one's like, baby, you bought me a drink before. You don't remember? And I don't know. And then the other one's like, yeah. And then he didn't even like hit on us or anything. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, okay, like you girls are doing too much. You girls are doing too much and like throwing yourself at this white man. So problematic. And then he's the odd man out. Like he came in. Listen, okay. I mean, when you come in, you just have to know the gay scene. When you come into a black bar, if you're like a black gay person who nobody knows, then yeah, then you're a Miss New Booty. So yeah, the boys will be at you. But when you're just like this really strange white boy who, and listen, y'all know I'm not prejudiced, I'm not racist. I don't play the color game. I live in color. I love everybody and everything that loves me. But for this, just we're going to talk about things the way that they are. And things are very white and very black when it comes to the LGBTQIA. We don't party together like that. We do not. There are white gay bars and there are black gay bars. And when one of us crisscrosses over, you stick out like a sore thumb to the point where you are actually, when you see, things are still segregated with us, Charles. So I can't even think of a better word, but kind of segregated. You know, there are names that are called of, you know, black guys who date white guys. Child, they call them snow queens and things of that nature. So it's not just readily accepted. That the way that scene was, how he came in there, child, little greasy looking white guy coming to black bar, baby, we're not giving. Oh yes, honey. Oh no. But then I said, look where they are. They're in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We are where we're forced to kind of do the, you know, we do kind of mingle with the white folks, but it's still the white establishment. There's very small black gay situation here. Okay. And even still, when black guys go into the white area, it's very on. And when white guys come into our area, it's very on. Okay. Little different for me. I'm a performer. So that's kind of different. We kind of go everywhere. So I'm kind of with everybody. So that's different. But when it comes to the whole dating and the whole, hey, baby, what's going on? It's a little different. It's a little different. Like I said, where I live would be a little more close, where something like this could possibly happen. Milwaukee, that looked crazy to me. That looked crazy to me. But I mean, again, it was what it was there in Milwaukee. So kind of like stuck together, kind of like that. But he was an odd man out in that situation. You didn't see a bunch of white folks walking around. You seen him, and he did stick out like a sore thumb. That just goes to show some of the craziness of him and how out there. That's why I should have picked up right away that we were starting a story late in the story, because he had just become a little bit lax and a little loose with what he had going on. I'm running now. Okay. But y'all, this being as though this is real stuff, we're going to bop back and forth. Some of this is going to bop into real time and versus, way back when it started. So just roll with me. Anyway. So two guys, then there's a third guy, cute little thing. He comes in, and he's really, like, yeah, you tried to hit on me, baby. And, then he didn't even make a move. I'm like, you being kind of slutty, girl, but okay. And they're just, kicking and cackling. He buys all three a drink. Then he starts talking to them about, oh, yeah, I'll pay you like $50 to do like some art photography stuff. And the other two was like, Miss Thing, no, child, $50. Girl, I ain't get ready to strip down to I ain't even get ready to strip to my underwear, girl, about no $50. I said, come here, Queen Annie. And the other one, he wasn't really interested so much in the photography thing. His name was Tracy. Tracy was hot, baby. She was hot. She was taking a liking to him. That's obviously her flavor. She liked all that. Okay, Miss Thing, whatever. But the friends kind of looked, and then there was the one child, he looked like he was a Hispanic child, real pretty little child. He was looking and he was kind of quiet. It was the two darker skinned ones that was really cutting the fool. The one, she was real sassy. And then the one, like I said, he looked a little Hispanic, real pretty. And then you had Tracy, and Tracy was just kind of, cute black guy. He was the most masculine of the three. Okay. So I said, okay, she's a little butch queen, whatever. Tracy goes with him. And you seen the one little child, she was real dismissive. The one who was more flamboyant and dark skinned, she was like, child, Miss Thing, whatever, girl. She was giving that would have been me. That would have been me. Girl, what did you give? Girl, you leaving with him? Bitch. That would have been me. But anyway, so you seen this look that the Latino child kind of gave, like, something ain't right with that. But whatever, we all grown. First things first, they go up into the apartment. He's looking, he's like, child, what is this smell in here? Now, I don't understand that. We're talking about this apartment. This apartment's a mess. I walk into a place like this, I'm like, no. He literally stopped. That little voice, I don't know where y'all get this from, where y'all don't listen to that little voice. That little voice is there for a reason. You could call it anything you want. It's either you, it's your subconscious, it's your angel sitting on your shoulder, it's the voice of God that actually talks to you. It's all those things. It is all the. Are y'all listening to me right now? Pull into the screen. Are you all listening to me? That little voice never ever leads you wrong. Do you understand me? And like I said, you can call it whatever you want to call it. Your subconscious, your little voice that talks to you, little angel that sits on your shoulder, the voice of God, your own personal protector, whatever you consider it, know that it is actually there for your safety, and it never is off. It is never off. I've been here for a long time, and I promise you, and I ain't trying to preach to y'all, but I promise you, every time that voice starts talking to you, there's a reason that voice is talking to you. Every time that I can ever remember, and I am being very honest and very transparent, every time that I've ever not listened to the voice, because the voice is always there. It's always there when it's supposed to be there. Every time when I don't listen, something pop off, some old shit pop off. And it'd be like, this could have been avoided. Yeah, it could have been avoided because you're being hard-headed. You're trying to do what you want to do. It ain't always about what you want to do. Sometimes it's about what you need to do. And that's that free will thing. He gives you the free will. Either you want to do it my way or you do it your way. And then I'll show you how your way works. But anyway, okay, down off my soapbox, but boom, 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 bam, and I'm back. Okay, let's go. All this stuff, the signs are there. He knows it. He sees the stuff, but you just want to have a good time. Because he was actually being hot. He was being hot. Men, males, leading with the little head instead of the big head. Goes in there, there's a drill. The bit is out of the drill and there's blood running out of it. I don't know if he actually seen it. We've seen it. I seen a head in the freezer. Tracy didn't see it, but I seen the head in the freezer. I was like, this is a mess. So as we're going through the scene, I'm saying, yeah, we're way into this. We're way into this. We ain't starting at the beginning. We somewhere in here. Then he gives him a drink. There's this foam in the cup. He asks him, what is this in this cup? Oh, I must have left some dish soap in there. First of all, that's how you wash dishes, that's another sign. That's time to go. The way he had to lean on the door and all this other stuff to close the door and lock the door and, the lock of the door and all of this, all these little signs saying, baby, you may never leave here. It just like a sore thumb, just sore thumb. Then he wants to, he says, well, can we, he says, it's hot and it smells bad and this, that, and the other. And he's like, he did this whole little thing with him where he put a handcuff on him and he's trying to lure him back to this room and somebody wants to go watch this film. And once he does all this, now he throws him off. The cup, he didn't got him, he didn't drugged him and he's a little high, he's getting a little high, but he's still trying to keep his wits about him. And the way in which this scene just drug on, oh my God, it was like, I don't ever want to watch that episode again. Like it just drug on. I was like, oh my God. So I know getting through like 30 minutes of this wore me out. It wore me out just going through the sped up versions because this shit literally, I'm sure, went on for hours. Just the fear, and he's slow walking it and he done pulled a knife on him. And he just went on. And Tracy is like, okay, you see he's a whack job. When I say pulled a knife, it's like a machete. Stop. Why is everybody trying to leave me? Don't try to leave me. This, that, and the other, talking real crazy. Then he sits you down and you're watching a spliced up VHS tape of some type of Christianity film. And it's just crazy. So Tracy does what Tracy knows how to do. Tracy tries to seduce him. Basically, he sucked his finger and all this. I guess he figured I could kind of get my way. He said, you want to take pictures, right? He done rolled all on the floor and did all this. You're all had up and you trying to seduce him. And I'm saying, Tracy, are you paying attention? You see, you should know that you really done got yourself into a situation where you're dealing with a person that's probably not real cool with their sexuality. And there's people who they're so off about their sexuality that they hate themselves so much about being gay that they want to be a part of the act. But this is where you run into that situation where after the act is done, it makes them snap. And I've seen that. I'm like, the more excited you made him, the more wacky he was getting. And I'm like, Tracy, but see, he's high, from that stupid drink. You're not catching the signs now. You are trying to do what you know how to do to disrupt whatever this pattern he has going on. He notices the blue vat in the corner. He's like, what is this? Well, he's asking questions and he's got to ignore them. Then he sits down. He told him, I don't like horror movies. I don't like scary movies, child. I don't like scary movies, daddy. I don't like that. But he will make you watch it. He said, well, what is this? The Exorcist 3. I watch it every day. I said, I see. She getting crazier and crazier as you go on, honey. Then he told him, can I listen to your heart? Now, at this time, Tracy took his shirt off and everything and showing his body. He's doing what it is he knows how to do to try to change what's going on in the room and get it in his favor. And he gets it and he's like, can I listen to your heart? And this, that, and the other. He's like, okay. And he sees they go in there and the mattress got blood on it and different things like that. And I'm sure the smell was probably really, really bad as they got back to that room where he lied and told him the air conditioner was and all that old mess. And he's like, can I listen to your heart? He says, what are you doing? He's like pushing him down onto the bed. And he's listening to him. He's listening to his heart. He's like, your heart is beating so fast, it's racing. And then he made a comment. He said, yeah, I'm gonna listen to it because I'm gonna eat it. And Tracy played his game real good, honey. And then he took something and bashed the shit out of Jeffrey, honey. Bashed him a couple times, got himself to the door, ended up getting himself out. He got himself out and he took off. And he's hollering down the hall, running. Somebody called the police. Somebody help me. He's trying to kill me. This, that, thing, and the other. And again, some of the stuff that's going on, Niecy Nash's character, she kind of hearing different things that she's been hearing, but it's been going on, can't hear so clear of what it is, but it just sounds like panic and it sounds like scuffling and different things. He runs out. And as he runs out, he makes it out of the door, out onto the street. Niecy busts out of her door, and her and Jeffrey see each other in the hallway. And she looks, and he looks at her, and then he goes back, and she goes in her apartment and slams the door. And she closes her apartment up. He goes back in his apartment, and he's kind of, and I think he didn't drink a little something to get himself, because he was already drunk. He was drunk. He was drunk before he went out, and he got drunker as time went on. And I think he might have gave himself a little drugs too, take that edge off to go to wherever that space is that he wanted to be. But he's just in his thing, and you could kind of see some regret in what actually happened. There was a couple times where he actually had Tracy in a position where he could have took him out, and he didn't take him out. And I think that there was a specific way that he intended to kill Tracy, and he didn't get to. And he was feeling a kind of way about it. And you could see it. And he was sitting there processing it. While all this is going on, Tracy done made it. Tracy's running through this neighborhood. He don't know the neighborhood. You done put yourself in a whole screwed up position. He gets down here and he ends up running into the police. Now, this shit right here, crazy. This right here is some real life Texas Chainsaw Massacre was real. Why the cops take people back to the scene, baby? Something like that. I ain't going. Now y'all can go on back down there and do what you do. Get him on the lineup, baby. I'll come on downtown. When we get downtown, if he get me, baby, he'll have to get me down at the precinct, baby. I'm not going back, especially back then when you knew how they felt about gay people. Baby, we not doing all that. We ain't doing all that. They didn't take us seriously. Even back in 91, they weren't taking us seriously. Certain places. Milwaukee is not Pittsburgh. I ain't playing that game in Pittsburgh, and I damn sure ain't playing it in Milwaukee. You taking me where? Oh, no, ma'am. No, sir. Y'all go get her, honey, and then y'all bring her where I'm at with some more of y'all, because she crazy. But anyway, they go on down there. Come on, they work their way into the apartment. Jeffrey lets them in. I mean, wasn't really no getting around it. They're asking about the handcuffs, and he's saying, yeah, he has the handcuff, has the key and everything. And he tells them, it's in a drawer. Go ahead, look at the drawer. I mean, he just kind of gave up at that point. The cop goes, and the cop was trying to breeze past this stuff. He sees all this different stuff. They smell the smell. They said, Jeff, what's the smell? They know something wrong. These two police officers. When they had asked Tracy, you want to come? Tracy said, hell no, I ain't coming back up in there. He got to come out. If he gets y'all, I got another chance to make it back to the dough. He goes in there and tells him, go in the room. I'm like, you Lord, what craziness is you great dude? He done sent the police officer in there. And I think he just kind of gave it up at that point and just said, you know what, this is the serial killer thing. It's like, okay, now I'm just going to bask in what I've done. I'm just going to lead you right onto the evidence. And then I'm gonna go ahead and make a break for it to see what I can do. You know, now I'm going to create my legacy after I've done what I've done. Now I'm gonna turn it. And that's all he did. He led him right to the stuff. And he's like, oh, because he kept telling him it's gay stuff, because he knew they would just kind of blow past it because they don't want to be bothered. Like he see a gay magazine on the floor, he kicked it, the cop kicked it out of the way. You know, they don't want to see it. They don't want to be interested. They ain't trying to brush it past, not taking things seriously. And then he sees the pictures. As he finds the keys, then the officer sees pictures and he's looking and seeing like these photographs and these different things. Then he's looking, he's like, wait a minute, this is like snuff film photos. And he's like, wait, this shit is real. And he's like, Jeffrey, take off. And the other cop slams him. They got him. They got him. It is what it is. He tried to run. Again, this was the building of my legacy. You know what I mean? I'm going to turn it now. So they got him. Serial killer. Very narcissistic. Very narcissistic. So still thinking you got it all under control. You working people. Anyway, then we see this phone call going to Jeffrey's father. His father comes on down to the police department and sit him down in the room. They go ahead and they get talking to him about, what's going on. They tell him, he says, wait a minute, you said there was a murder. I thought someone was trying to murder Jeffrey. They're like, no, Mr. Dahmer. He was trying to murder someone else. And he goes, the dad starts spilling his guts. He was always he was strange, but quiet, good boy. He's a good boy. I said, okay. He says, he's emotional though. Says, he was 18. And I said, this is, y'all didn't do what y'all needed to do for your boy, honey. So he's 18 years old when me and his mother went through our divorce. He was living on his own, but he took it real bad. Excuse me, 18-year-old living on their own, broke up about your divorce? Yeah, I'd say that's a little strange, and you a little strange too, because he needed some help. Something don't sound right. Then the father goes back to when he was 4 years old, he had a hernia operation and he was never the same. I think might have been something happened there. Maybe he stayed under the anesthesia too long. And they're like, so you're saying that something messed him up in the head or something? Yeah. Well, did you know your son was a homosexual? He got quiet. He started drinking his coffee. That to me said yes, but I don't want to talk about that because that's what it gives. No, remember it's 91. We're in 2022 right now. 91, it was very that. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, honey, very. We don't talk about that. That's what it was given. They told him, listen, this is what happened. We found a human head in the refrigerator. We found 2 human hearts in the freezer. We found male genitalia frozen in the freezer. We found 5 skulls in the bedroom, a full skeleton in a drawer in the bedroom. We found 3 torsos and other body parts in a vat filled with acid in the bedroom. And from the things in the kitchen and some of the utensils in the house and different things around, we believe that your son ate some of his victims. And they said, now I know this is hard to hear, so we're going to go ahead, we're going to step out. We're going to step out. We're going to let you have some time. And I looked at the father and I said, you ain't right either. You not right either, bruh. He sat there. He wouldn't even allow himself to break. He wouldn't even allow himself. Listen to the way he listened. He wouldn't even allow himself to break. And I said, somebody need to be surveilling you too, Papa. You a little strange too. I can't even imagine. Nobody told me nothing about nobody like that in my family. And I'm sitting there and you won't even allow yourself to break? The way he fought them tears and things, I said, I don't trust you either. Anyway, moving on. Then we see the next day, we start seeing, we see Niece. I don't even know what her name is, but the neighbor, she's sitting there. She didn't fall asleep, sitting up at the couch because now it's all over the news. There's people, CNN and everybody else, all out in the streets. You hear this bang, 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 all out in the hallway. And she's sitting there, she's like walking around and she looks, and then there's bang, bang, bang on her door. And I'm like, you've got to be like completely nervous after all of this. Like, with they didn't know what was really going on. They're just hearing different things. They said there were 17 bodies found total over there. But she was asleep when they said it on the news because she's sitting there sleeping. But then they said, they come in, they knock on her door, and the cop says, we're asking everybody in the building to evacuate immediately. She said, wait a minute, what are you talking about? Where am I supposed to go? Where do you think I'm going? He's like, I don't know, ma'am, but this whole building is now a crime scene. It's a crime scene, and there are toxic chemicals in here that may harm someone in there. So we're evacuating the whole building. And she says, this is the ending quote of this episode, where she says, how many did you find? And they just didn't answer her. I said, oh my God. So I'm in. I'm all in. I have to say I didn't think I was going to be able to make it through the first 30 minutes. If it would have continued on like this, I've said, oh, I hope we're not going to go through all the victim stories like this. I can't do this. I just can't. Because this is not American horror. I mean, it is an American horror story, but it's not something that Ryan made up. This is what really went down. This is real people. This real people with real families, and again, only Ryan Murphy is the best person to do these type of reenactments because he is the master. One. Stephen King can actually evoke. There are other writers, Stephen King, M. Night Shyamalan. There's people that can pull it, but Ryan Murphy can yank an emotion out of you like none other. Lee Daniels can yank an emotion out of you like none other. But this here spooky shit and this uneasy, creepy stuff, Ryan Murphy, this is where he lives. And at the same time, tells a story in a way that you can't click it off. So here we are. This is episode 1. And I'm going to go on. There's 9 more. I'm going to review them as I go. And y'all hang with me as long as y'all can hang. All right. I'll talk to y'all later.